And he talks first about how he would do like a comedic bit or a comedic stand-up, and if he got a lot of laughs, he's like, oh, yeah, great, I killed it that day. But then he'd survey people later, and they go, yeah, it was fine. But then he'd do another stand-up routine, and he would be very quiet. He wouldn't get that many laughs. And, oh, I bombed. I just totally bombed. Review comes out later. Most incredible, amazing thing he'd ever done. And he couldn't reconcile the fact that his feeling of what people thought about him never matched what the actual reaction was. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, boys and girls, everyone of all ages, welcome to the Zero Dot Podcast, where we are part of Team Human. When the chips are down, our resources are their lowest. That's when we remind ourselves that's when we are actually our strongest. My name's Sam. This is Daniel. And, oh no, John, once again, is not here right now, but I promise you he's fighting battles in John land, and we're here to kind of defend the fortress of Zero Dot for him on his behalf, and we will wish him, John, well when he can come back. We've got the seat reserved right for him. Daniel, how you doing today?
Man, I'm okay. I'm okay. Woke up feeling quite positive today. May have something to do with the fact that I had food poisoning, and now I don't have food poisoning. And the difference between those two states is,
oh my gosh,
it's big. It's big. Like, having food poisoning and not having food poisoning, it's not a difficult choice to make. So
the feeling one feels when one goes from being violently ill to, hey, I feel normal again, is like such an amazing rush that, like, okay, I don't want us ever to feel violently ill ever again, but like, imagine if we could feel that transformation all the time whenever we wanted to. Wouldn't that just make us feel so good all the time?
It's amazing. I feel so clean. I feel so pure. Right. Like, I could stand up without feeling nauseous. I could keep food down. I know I could drink things that aren't water. I like drinking water. I love drinking water. But I want a coffee every now and then. I want one of those sweet white monsters that I am trapped in the vice grip of. But yeah, I feel better. Thank you for asking. With that context now given, I'll go from saying that I feel okay and good to I feel better.
That's good.
I feel much better.
Good. I'm so glad.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I don't have any crazy travel stories like before that I had to share, so I'm okay. I got some sleep. That's nice.
Wow. Getting sleep confirmed good.
Absolutely.
Yes. I'm glad because I mean, the last time that you had a travel story, it was an episode.
It was an entire episode.
It was a whole thing.
Is right.
So
that's right. And for those that are confused about what we're talking about, we do have an episode about that. Do make sure to check our Zero Dot Podcast for that, where we detail my crazy travel situation. But for those of you that did not, let me just give you the quick recap. I needed to be in a couple places in 1 week, and TSA, the airlines, weather, all had different kinds of plans, where towards the very end, I was running on literally no sleep. I was driving late into the night, arriving to my final engagement with only 45 minutes left to spare, and there was one angel, I call her an angel, who was someone who was at the front desk of this hotel. Her name was Alina. She was the first and only person to really give me any kind of empathy and kindness of any kind, and I'm so thankful for her. But what I didn't say, because this came out later, as you might know, I'm a businessman and I have to do my expenses. And Daniel, wouldn't you know that when I did my expenses, I looked at my invoice for the hotel stay, she didn't charge me anything.
Not
$0.
Dime. Nothing. That's brilliant. I know. She was doing that. She was like, I'm not going to charge him. And then she sat there and she was like, I can't wait for him to see that. I can't wait for him to find that. That must have been so nice to see when you were like sitting down to go through the grunt work of like doing your filings and all that kind of stuff, just to see that nice little surprise. Well,
I was confused because I'm like, wait, this says $0. I must have lost the real invoice somewhere. And I'm looking, and then I actually type my confirmation code into the hotel's website, and nope, it's $0. There's nothing there. And here's the crazy thing, Daniel. I distinctly remember in my half stupor sleep, and I'm like, she was being so nice. She said, you're getting in so late. Let me give you an extended stay so you can check out late. I really appreciate that, Alina. but I have about 45 minutes before I have to get out the door and do my teaching engagement. I don't have the time. I just need a bed rest for 20 minutes, a quick shower, and I'm out of here. And as one might know, when you check into a hotel that late, like 4 a.m, the system usually automatically cancels your reservation from before because you haven't arrived before midnight. Same thing happened here. She says, okay, I found your old reservation. We did cancel it. Oh, but good news. I'm going to get you a cheaper rate. That's all she said. I'm going to get you a cheaper rate. And then it turns out that cheaper rate was basically $0. I'm like, holy
wonderful.
cow.
She wasn't wrong. She
was not wrong.
In fact, a cheaper rate, a much cheaper rate, which is wonderful. But
here's the thing. That's a big deal because some cleaning lady has to go in there and clean the room, even though I only used it for like 2 hours max. Like, that's a huge gesture on their part, but still it was massive. It was huge.
Yeah.
The little things matter.
They really do. They matter and they add up to become big things. That's how size works.
It is how size works.
You learn something new every day here.
Yeah. Well, it's been a week, and I think it's about time we get ourselves some really good news. And Daniel, I have some really exciting news for us. In fact, you're probably aware of it. It's such big, awesome news. For literally the first time since, I believe, what did I say, 1972? I think it was 1972 NASA.
Yeah.
The Artemis II took launch just a few days ago, making its departure, her venture into space for the first time since 1972. It was Apollo 17. 1972 was the last time humans have departed the Earth orbit. And here we have a multi-diverse group of Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy are now on their precise trajectory towards the moon, which is just really exciting because, Daniel, in my lifetime, in your lifetime, we've never really seen that happen. And the few times we've seen attempts of that, it has not gone well.
Yeah. I think a lot of people were kind of holding their breath watching. I was. I so badly wanted this to work because it's just, not only is it something bright in I mean, literally it's faint, it's extremely bright, but it's a bright spot in what has been a troublesome year so far. I will say. Not only that, but it's just such a showcase of everything that humans are good at. Like with the ingenuity, the construction, the planning, working together to make this happen. I can't begin to imagine the amount of people, the amount of hours it took, the amount of great minds that it took. It's so lovely to see, and to see it work, to see it come to fruition. Like, if it can make us feel that way, the people who are actually there, involved, working like they should be, that's a life-defining moment.
It really is.
It doesn't. I don't think it matters how involved you were. If you can say that you were involved in that, I think that's just an absolute, like I said, a life-defining moment.
100%. And you know, to add to the fact that, you know, how wonderful it is, you know, you and I, Daniel, we're more on the creative artsy-fartsy side of things. But this literally gives credence to the magic of math, right? Math made this happen. Engineering, real smart scientists, getting all the trajectories 100% right.
Something that
magical.
Something that I am not equipped to deal with. By far my worst subject across my life. So I'm always in awe of people who have got those minds that can just make numbers work. It's, you know, they see a math problem and I see a maths problem, I should say, because I'm British. If I see a maths problem, I run for the hills. That's scary to me. Want me to do anything more than the basics? That's a calculator. Thank you.
Gotcha.
It's, but to see, I had a maths teacher when I was a kid, and he was just so fun, because obviously we know this. If someone is teaching something and you can sense their passion for it and you can sense their excitement for it, it doesn't matter what the subject is, it makes it interesting. But I remember he'd just get so excited about symbols and equations and all this kind of, I was just thinking, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to do this. It was lovely to watch him work, and to go through it all. But boy, is my mind not wired that way, which is okay, because it's wired well for other things instead.
Sure.
So
yeah. You remind me of my favorite math teacher, Mr. Trajani, which if you're around, I hope you're doing well. He's my favorite math teacher because, like what you just described, he was excited about math, but he would always try to make sure he would explain it in a way that would make sense to you as a person who'd be working as an adult, like how that would make sense for you. He'd try to make sure it's practical. I remember he was very conscious about the curriculum that we had to show. He says, I'm not going to teach you X, Y, Z thing because that's not going to come up in your real life, but I'm going to show you this, like how to do expenses, how to do your finances, how to do this. Like this is going to matter to you.
If more people had that, we would have so far fewer issues with so many things. I think making things like maths applicable to real life, if you do want to go right into the nitty gritty of things, awesome, that's cool. For the everyman, like if they can learn how to like do their taxes, if they can learn how to do simple equations and stuff in their head for grocery shopping or whatever you want, like to make it applicable to real life is so awesome. I think it's so important, and it's often missed. It's often just like you see all these algebraic equations on the board, and you're like, when am I going to need that? And the answer is never. Most of the time, the answer is never, unless you are someone working on Artemis II. So I think that's so important, and I think that should be more widespread as a practice. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Mr. Giuliani was amazing because he didn't just show us that. He actually showed us how to be mindful for scams. Like he would show us, you go to a shop and it says up to 90% off, and he goes, okay, get your calculator out and actually ask them to do the math for you, and it's never 90%. What they actually mean is they give you a 10% discount here, then another 15% and a 20, etc., and those add up to 90, but that is not 90% off the total cost. Like he would show us all these cool things. He'd show us how to calculate APY versus APR, like be on the lookout. The real estate agents are out to get you. Like it was awesome.
So good. It's just teaching people how to live, how to be a grown-up in the world is so important. And like I said, it's something that is unfortunately not in as many schools as it should be. And by as many, I mean all.
Yeah.
It should be in all schools, quite frankly.
I also want to give him one more shout out because he's one of the only math teachers I've ever seen do this. And if you are a math teacher that does this, thank you so much. He would ask that you always showed your work for all of your tests. And then what he would do is he'd look over your work and he'd look over your answer. And if you got the answer wrong, he'd only give you like half off. And then he would follow your work logic. And if you got it all right except for one small thing, or like your foundation was flawed, he'd give you partial credit for it. He says, I don't want to double ding you for something. If you got one small thing off, I want to still say you get some kind of credit for getting some of the answer right, which means your logic and your follow through was correct. Just one small thing was wrong. And I love that about him. And I think the world needs more of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Also, the acceptance that there can be multiple different ways to reach the same answer, and they are all as valid as one another.
Absolutely.
That's something, it's like, oh, you got the right answer, but show you're working out, and it could be completely different to the way that the teacher did it, but it's still valid.
That's
right. If you reach the same answer, that's just how your brain works. That's just how your brain tackles that specific problem.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't have to be the way it's written on the board.
That's right.
As someone with many convoluted, backwards ways of doing things, if I reach the same endpoint, then...
It took me a little bit longer, but I got it, guys. I promise.
Exactly.
I promise.
Exactly. I may have sat there and been in hell for half an hour working on one problem, but I got there.
You did.
I got there.
Speaking of things that took a while, Artemis II, once again, this launched from 1972. It's been that long. Call out here, Daniel and I were nervous. A lot of people were nervous. Also, it happened on April 1st of all days. I don't know why they
Honestly.
picked that day, if I'm being perfectly honest. I know that we typically don't have a lot of success showing a video, but I do want to show one very quick clip to see if this goes okay. There's actually someone who was aboard a passenger plane seeing the launch while it was happening. And the coolest thing isn't just what you're about to see and listen to, folks. It's the captain coming on the intercom to talk about it as people are watching it from outside their window. Let's take a quick listen right now. There you see it right there, coming out right from the peak, right from the passenger lane. They can see the plane or the Artemis. It's already above the plane. It's higher in the atmosphere.
Wow. 15 years of flying, folks, praying that I'd get to see something like this. You don't see this every day. They're going around the moon. I flew down to Florida, I don't know how many times, half a dozen times, to see that space shuttle take off in my day, and always canceled. And here, front row seats. This is something you want to tell your grandkids, you guys that are 3 years old.
That's flipping awesome, man. I don't have
It's
any other words for that.
That is so cool. You can hear how excited he is. He's so stoked.
Yeah. Imagine trying to plan your schedule so you always can be there nearing your launch, and it just always gets canceled. That's how it's been. It's always been canceled, or something awful has happened, and fingers crossed to those NASA engineers, those NASA astronauts, as we call them, that are out there right now.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully not just a successful launch, but a successful mission overall would be wonderful. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, part of our job here at Zero Dot is keeping ourselves accountable, and I would love to just end with only good news. We're still going to have lots more good news to talk about, but I do think it's important that we are privy to the issues that come up. Daniel, have you heard what's happened in good old Kentucky, in our area in the United States? Have you heard what's happened?
You know what? I'm going to be an ignorant Brit.
That's fine.
It's off the top of my head. You just saying what's happening in Kentucky. Honestly, it might be that I've just missed the news broadcast where they spoke about it or something, but I don't know.
Yeah,
so
that's perfectly valid. Probably for two reasons. I misquoted. It's not Kentucky. It's Tennessee, but it's
I still don't know. No, I still don't know.
Here's something that's crazy that's happened. So a library director was fired for refusing by the board of directors for the library for relocating controversial books out of the children's section. She pleaded her case. She said, hey, look, it's not up to us to determine whether this is, if it's the content we don't like, it still would make it a children's book. This is its own version of censorship of some kind. A lot of these books, I think it's something like 120 or so books or so that were impacted. The board was trying to move to the adult section because they promoted, quote unquote, gender confusion or content involving LGBTQ plus themes. This library director, Lou Ann James, pled her case, and swiftly the board of directors said, okay, you're fired. And that's what...
Yes. So upon you reviewing that story, I have heard about this. It wasn't through the news. It was from, obviously with that being a little bit more pinpoint local to that specific region. But yeah, I did hear about this happening. And I'll just say, do you know what helps with confusion? Knowledge, understanding, learning, from books, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, if the, yep. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah.
So I want to quote Lou Ann James here, who, in part of her defense, said the following thing. She said, public libraries serve as vital repositories of diverse ideas, both popular and unpopular. Restricting access to these materials through subjective relocation or removal constitutes a violation of the community's right to information and a direct infringement on the principles of free speech. Our libraries are funded by and for the citizens. Therefore, the right to access information, free from government interference, is a protected hallmark of our democracy. We love you, Luann James. You're super amazing. Sadly, the board is quoted in saying, the board has the authority and responsibility to establish policy for the library system. When a director refuses to carry out a duly adopted board decision, it undermines the governance of the institution and cannot be ignored. So they let go of her based on insubordination, they say.
Wow. Brother, imagine if I was in charge of things, right? Vegan, in case you didn't know. Now you do know. How do you know if someone's vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you.
They'll tell you, they always do.
I've done exactly that.
Yeah.
It's not that it comes up naturally in conversation all the time anyway. Imagine if I was in charge and I ordered them. I was like, all the cookbooks that have non-vegan recipes, get them out. Get them out. That's terrible. And people were just like, hey man, like there's recipes in there that are like still useful, and you could even like take them and change them to make them meat free and dairy free, and it's still relevant information, and it's good to preserve information regardless. And I was like, not listening to me? Fired. Like, dude, it's ridiculous. Nobody who has ever wanted to like burn a book or ban a book, nobody has ever had good interests in mind. No.
Yeah. I mean, we could spend all day talking about this, but I mean, like, I want everything archived. I want the library to have everything. I try to donate to my library as much as I can so they have stuff. There's a lot of, I don't know if you know this, guys, but there's going to be things I read, watch, even video games I don't like. But that's okay. I want people to have access to it. Crazy thought. I know.
Wow. Because maybe someone else might like it.
Right.
And it's weird how it doesn't impact my life at all. Oh man. Yeah.
And also, if we all unanimously don't like it, it's still important to have it so we remind ourselves that we don't like it. Because if we just expunge it, then we forget. Right?
Yes.
Right?
Because if you erase it, then how will you not let it happen again?
Almost like what's happening right now on a geopolitical scale. But
diddly darn.
It's bad news, but I do want to say I am proud of Luann James for sticking up for what she believes in. I'm proud of her for doing what was right to her visage. In a separate quote, she has stated and saying she is exploring legal options for herself because what she believes happened was illegal. And I can also say from another anecdote from someone who will remain nameless, I know that this person, I have a friend who worked in this is funny enough, the fraud department for Washington, D.C., and during the Doge expunging of certain things, she was asked to do something that she did not fundamentally agree with. And the person at Doge says, you don't have a right to an opinion here. You are a public servant. You do what we say or we're firing you. And she said, okay, then fire me. And she did. She got fired. But she's proud of her decision because she's like, this is not right what you're asking me to do. So we need people like this. This is important. Sadly, I don't know what's going to happen with these particular books. They might get someone else in charge and move the books. But at least someone's taking a stand, and we appreciate that here at Zero Dot.
Yeah, very much so. It's a very serious issue. I really appreciate you bringing it up, bringing light to it. I know that I like to be a bit silly. I like to do the whole thick. I like to lay the sarcasm on thick, as you know. I like to make a laugh and a joke about it. That's how I deal with things, through humour. Doesn't mean it's not very, very important. So if ever you hear me throwing jokes around and taking cheeky jabs at things and stuff, like, I do take it very, very seriously. It's just my way of dealing with the terrible news that is funneled towards my face at an alarming rate every day. So yeah,
for sure. And I would say to anyone that's a Zero Dot member, support your libraries and support
Hell yeah.
Freedom of access to information. I'm a big preservationist. I believe we should preserve original works of things, even if we don't agree with them. Have access to them in whatever way you can. That's really powerful. So,
absolutely. Speaking of your local library, I'll tell you what you could do. You should make a zine. Make a cool zine. And do you know where's got a photocopier? Library. Nothing stopping you. You get to support your library. You get to make something cool. Hand it out to your friends. It can be about anything. It can be about anything you want. It's so cool. I bought a zine the other month for like £2, and it was all about mushrooms.
Ooh.
It was super cool. I like mushrooms. I like zines. I was like, I'll take that. Thank you. It's so fun. It's just do something cool. Your library has so many things that people don't use.
Nope. They're always empty.
So many things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that a lot of libraries, they carry role-playing games and tabletop games and other such the like. So there's all sorts you can do at your library. Just go in and speak to them and ask. It's a great resource. And the fact that not many people use them is a travesty, to be perfectly honest.
Absolutely. Yeah. Use your library. It's good, folks. Be a member of a library. If you don't have a membership, they are free. If you are a U.S. citizen, especially, you're paying taxes already on a library, so you might as well use it. Use it. Anyway, thank you, Luann James. You're a hero. Thank you so much. We're sorry for the bad news, but we're glad people like you are doing what you got to do.
Hell yeah.
With that, then, I think we can talk about... Oh, there's one more thing I want to talk about. That's not our main topic, but something... We do a good, we do a bad, we do the beautiful, or like the main topic. I have the weird, the quirky, the bizarre.
Oh,
something a little silly for us.
Something with
Daniel,
a bit of
are you familiar with the channel Are Things Swell?
Actually, no. I'm not.
That's
and
perfect.
in a minute, when you start talking, I'm going to be like, no, I do know. Just like the Tennessee thing. No, I might know them when we get deeper into it, but off the top of my head, no, I don't know.
That's perfectly fine. I won't even bother playing a clip. I recommend everyone go to Are Things Swell YouTube. It's a guy with 2,600 videos. He has almost 10,000 subscribers. And the reason I want to talk about this is that for the past, let me get the year right. For 7 years now, since December 11th of 2018, every single day, he has uploaded a 5 to 15 second clip on his YouTube saying the date and then saying things are swell today. Every single day since December 11th, 2018. So, for instance, if you go there right now, Are Things Swell on April 2nd, 2026, he will say, today is April 2nd, 2026, and things are swell today, and just walk off camera every single time. And that's lovely.
I love stuff like this. I love bizarre, hyper-specific, quirky things like this on the internet. It's like the accounts on the unnamed website and Blue Sky that will post things like have you ever seen the little meme of, I think it's Daniel Craig introducing The Weeknd?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen,
The Weeknd. And they post it every weekend. And it just continues on, and it's never any different. It's reliable. And I don't know, maybe it says something about me, but I laugh at it every single time. It's just, every time it comes up, I'm just like, there it is. Like, there's the Weeknd post. It's still good. And it, you know what? It might be something super, super tiny, and like most people would just be like, well, that's stupid. But it offers like a real sense of comfort and familiarity, and like it's just so nice. It's like no matter what's happening, I'm always going to see that silly little meme of Daniel Craig introducing The Weeknd, and you know what? It makes me think things are swell.
Things are swell, right?
I brought it back around eventually before I started rambling. I did it.
That's good. No, I mean, I remember seeing this channel 2 years ago, and I don't remember how many subscribers he had, but I think it was a lot less. But now people are just like, dude, this is comforting. This is lovely. This is fantastic. He's never missed a single day. You can see from the thumbnails I'm showing, he's just always in front of the same setup. He just comes in, just says, today's March 1st, 2026, and things are swell today, and walks off every single time.
Brilliant.
Beautiful. It's brilliant. Thank you, Are Things Swell guy. Thank you for doing it. I also love his thumbnail says Chris Preddy is a swell guy. Thank you very much. That's a very nice gesture to say with that shirt. And if you go to his website, if I could share this tab. This is the official website. It just says welcome, enter. You click enter, and that's what you get.
Beautiful. And is it always just updating with the latest
I think so.
one?
Yep, I think so.
That's brilliant. I just got flashbanged with a entirely red screen.
Yes.
I was not prepared. Not prepared. But yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. Hello, it is me, Daniel. The man who you don't see quite so often on the podcast, or hear quite so often on the podcast, but you may have heard and seen quite a lot of me today. You're welcome. I am here to give thanks to our Patreon supporters. We have Robert Restant, we have David Rivera, we have William Kirk, JP, Aid, and God of Grunts. Thank you everyone so much, as always, for continuing to support us and what we do here. It means a lot. If you would like to be in their esteemed company, please consider heading over to our Patreon at patreon.com/zero.media. I'm talking slightly robotic, so I'll get it right, so it functions in my mind properly. Surely you couldn't tell. Anyway, back to the episode.
So good, so good. All right, well, I thought we'd have that nice little palate cleanser. Always good to have that. Remind ourselves of the quirky, the weird.
I appreciate that.
All that other stuff. But now let's talk about our main topic, or rather, our point of interest. Daniel, you know a little bit what we're going to talk about. I'm going to ask you a question in just a little bit. But yesterday we talked a bit about photography, and I'm a big fan of photography. And today I thought, you know what? What parallels can we have in other creative fields and other artists doing wonderful things? And I started turning my attention over to painters. I don't know about you, Daniel. I'm a terrible painter. I get messy. I get frustrated. There's a whole process to adding layer upon layer upon layer. So I always admire painters that can do this, right? Especially in the olden days when there wasn't that good old Photoshop around, right? Like, you're all the real ones as far as I'm concerned. As I was thinking about this and looking through some of my favorite paintings, I came across the work of John Atkinson Grimshaw. Are you familiar with that individual, my friend Daniel?
No, I am not, but the name alone is superb. It is exquisite to say.
Yeah.
John. Was it John? Did you say?
It is John Atkinson Grimshaw.
John. I didn't know whether I just had John in my mind because I miss our dear friend so much. John Atkinson Grimshaw. I think it's Grimshaw.
Grimshaw.
Oh, it's like dripping in gothic intrigue. I love it.
Yeah. I'm going to be using sources from our friends Wikipedia right now because have we talked about this yet? Wikipedia is anti-artificial intelligence, anti-learning language models, and we want to support Wikipedia because it is a source of some kind. This is a good picture of our good friend Grimshaw. What a nice little man right there. Love the. That's not a Manchi, is it? What kind of beard is that when it's long like that?
I don't know
a goat beard
specifics because obviously like that shape at the front that's a goatee.
Sure.
But I don't know at what length it becomes something else. So I'm just going to call it a long goatee.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to look at some paintings he's had right here. For my listeners at home, I'll try to describe them to you. But, I mean, we see this painting called one of his paintings of Nostrop Old Hall. Lovely bright colors. The green is just so bright here. You see the castle. I guess it's a manor or an old hall of some kind. Has a picturesque quality to it, wouldn't you say, Daniel? Picturesque.
Absolutely.
Picturesque. Yes. I'm sure we hate that word.
Yes. Yeah, very picturesque.
Picturesque.
I'm pretty sure I used the word picturesque to describe something in the photography episode. So
yeah, we did. It's okay. It's all right.
So I don't hate that word. I think it's fine.
We've got Glasgow Saturday Night, a very popular piece. Here you see
Glasgow.
Sorry, apologies. Glasgow.
There you go.
Glasgow.
It's okay. You can pick me up on American pronunciation whenever you want.
Yeah. So there's a town in Pennsylvania called, and if you say it as it's spelled, Lancaster. But that's not how the locals call it. It's Lancaster.
Yeah.
Lancaster.
We've got a Lancaster.
Yeah. Okay. You always call it Lancaster. Don't call it Lancaster.
Lancaster.
We always know that you're not from town if that's the problem.
Yeah. Anyway,
we see here Saturday night, a beautiful. I guess it looks like it might be an evening. I don't know. You got some ships in the pier. You've got some horses on buggies. You got some shops open. Some people with hats and umbrellas. Again, very picturesque, beautiful. The colors are so bright and vibrant.
It's gorgeous. I just want to, and you'll see this as you go through these paintings. You being Sam, myself, and people watching, the colors are gorgeous. They're very rich, but it's the reflections and the bounce lighting and all of this that it's phenomenal.
It is.
Those stained glass windows of the pubs that are like, and the light is spilling onto the cobbles on the street it's breaking my mind. It's so beautiful. I love it. I love that. That's something that I'm really drawn to in these paintings. I'm finding is the use of lighting is just sublime.
The lighting, the coloring. This is the ironbound shore. A beautiful color of some blues and greens and oranges and even purples in the clouds. The detail of the rocks here is uncanny to me, Daniel. Like, holy cow! If you were to tell me, I would think this is just a fuzzy, slightly out of focus photograph, but this is a painting, an actual painting.
Beautiful. Look at that wave.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to that. Yeah, look at that wave. Look at that.
Yeah, look at that wave. Take the time.
Take the time. Listeners,
observe the wave.
I want you to know that, listeners, if you can't see anything, it's actually all your fault. You chose to be a listener. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's just wonderful detail here. It is just beautifully magnificent. I'm going to show just a few more before we get into kind of the reason why I'm bringing up this artist in just a little bit. I love this piece, The Woodland near Leeds. Again, the green and the bluish green just pops like in ways that I don't typically see with this type of painting. This is from 1869.
Like teal kind of color on that tree in the back it's almost like fluorescent. It's like neon.
Yeah.
It's dipping its toes into the neons and the fluorescence. It's very... If you pointed to that in a paint pot or like on a palette or something and you were just like, I'm going to use that on a tree, I'd be like, are you painting like a cyberpunk hologram tree?
Right?
You wouldn't think it would work. Looking at this as part of the whole composition, boy, was that the right choice.
Right.
Like, that is, it works. It works. I don't know why it works, but it certainly works.
It's like he cranked the saturation up just a little bit in certain places. In other places, he kept it really muted, and it was a deliberate choice he made.
Beautiful.
This is a beautiful piece, but let me just, this one really gets me. This has like a gothic noir look. You see, at the park gate, 1878, someone appears to be approaching some kind of gate. There's a manor or house in the background. It looks like it's well into the twilight of night. It looks like there's a full moon with tons of overcast clouds, but the full moon still radiates through. It's got this bluish, greenish hue, but then the ground is orange and yellow, and there's a lot of darkness, a lot of light here happening.
Yeah, for our listeners, I hope that our gushing over these paintings is enough to satiate you. However, if it is not, I'm sure you can either search up this man's name and view these paintings, or we will probably leave some sort of link in the description.
Absolutely.
Assume. Should probably be the producer's job to do something like
somebody's
that.
going to do that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know who the hell would do that. But yeah, it's...
John Atkinson Grimshaw. He lived from September 1836 to October 1893. An English Victorian-era artist best known for his nocturnal scenes of urban landscapes. He was called a, quote, remarkable and imaginative painter by critic and historian Christopher Wood from Victorian Painting, 1999. Let's see, hold on. James McNeill Whistler, whom Grimshaw worked with in his Chelsea studio, stated, quote, I considered myself the inventor of nocturnes, which I suppose is a type of painting you make, a landscape painting, nocturnal painting. until I saw, and I love this, the nickname Grimmy's Moonlight Pictures. So he had a nickname for him, called him Grimmy. Yep. And he also had the name of Jag because his initials are JAG, not to be confused with the television show Jag.
Or the car.
Or the car. Absolutely.
Right.
Jaguar.
This guy gets more and more. I never thought I'd be so jealous of a dead guy. Like,
right?
The name, I was like, that's an amazing name. And then you were just like, but wait. He also had a cool nickname. And another cool nickname. This guy's just made of names. He's wonderful.
Absolutely. And then talking about his legacy, this is again from Wikipedia. Grimshaw left behind no letters, journals, or papers. His reputation rested completely on his legacy based on his townscapes that he drew. There was a revival of interest in his work in the second half of the 20th century, with several important exhibitions devoted to it. A retrospective exhibition called Atkinson Grimshaw, Painter of Moonlight, ran from April to September of 2011 at the Mercer Art Gallery in Harrogate, and subsequently in the Guildhall Art Gallery in London, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So he's got a reputation. People have kind of discovered him. The art world loves this guy. But there's something funny about his work. And when I say funny, I mean there's a reason why he's not quite as popular as we'd like him to be. Because we're looking at the artwork, Daniel. I'm loving it. It's beautiful. I'm awestruck by it. It's incredible.
You're worrying me now. Because I've spent so long as someone who creates art myself just gushing over these paintings. Just, oh, this is gorgeous. Look at the use of lighting. This is so beautiful. This is complex. This is deep. It's immaculate. And then I've just got this horrible pit in my stomach that you're going to turn around and just be like, joke, it was a freaking 1800s Gen AI somehow. It was a horse-powered generative AI model.
Well, I won't leave you or our listeners or our viewers dangling for too much longer. But I think what we're going to find as I reveal this little tidbit of detail is I'm going to let you decide, Daniel, but not anything this person has actually done. In fact, this person has not hidden anything, but rather public perceptions of them. In fact, off the call, we were just talking about being an artist and having the bravery of being misunderstood. And I think an argument can be made that his work and his process is often misunderstood. So the reason why this Grimshaw, John Atkinson Grimshaw, Grimmy or Jag, isn't quite as well-renowned as I think many of us would like him to be, is this tidbit right here. Again, quoting from Wikipedia, though entirely self-taught, he is known to have openly, keyword openly, used a camera obscura or lenses to project scenes onto canvas, which made up for his shortcomings as a draftsman and his imperfect knowledge of perspective. Now, here's where things get funny. This is a technique which famous artists Caravaggio, if I'm pronouncing it correct, Michelangelo Caravaggio, as well as Vermeer, also known as Johannes Vermeer, also did, but they did it in secret. They didn't want anyone to know that's what they did. Mm-hmm. Grimshaw had no problem just saying, this is absolutely how I'm doing it. This is how I'm making this painting. And this technique that Caravaggio and Vermeer were suspected to have used in secret was condemned by a number of Grimshaw's contemporaries who believed it demonstrated less skill than painting by eye, with some saying his paintings appeared to, quote, show no marks of handling or brushwork, while others, quote, were doubtful whether they could be accepted as paintings at all. These are quotes.
They might not be paintings at all.
At all. Finally, however, many recognized his mastery of color, lighting, and shadow, as well as his unique ability to provoke strong emotional responses in the viewer. And you just heard and saw us do that right here live on this recording. Even though I've seen some of these paintings, I was still just drawn by these things. And yes, absolutely, strong response right there. But I want to pause there because that's the controversial thing. And Daniel, you are the visual artist of this enterprise. As that information is revealed to you, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so first off, the Well, I hadn't seen these paintings prior. I may have at some point. I was saying to Sam before we recorded the episode that when I first saw, he posted a preview of like 4 of the paintings in a channel that we've got access to, and upon first seeing them, it kind of pinged something off in the back of my mind, a little ping of familiarity that I might have seen these before. There was some weird sense that I witnessed these paintings at some point in my life, but I just couldn't dig down and find where from or when. But as far as my memory allows me to know, this is the first time that I'm seeing these paintings.
Mm-hmm.
So my reactions to saying, "Oh, the lighting! Oh, it's amazing! It's so gorgeous." Some of those paintings that were in that slideshow that Sam was showing, I didn't see prior to the recording, so those reactions were genuine. When you were saying that people praise his use of lighting and such, it's 100% genuine from me. I'd not seen them before, so yeah. In terms of right, there's so much to say about this.
There's a reason why I brought this up.
I know.
Well, let me just, as you collect your thoughts, let me just remind us, when I say the camera obscura, that is very much the root of what a camera is. And what would happen, sometimes this would be called a pinhole camera, where some kind of image using light is projected onto something. In this case, it says a canvas. Sometimes that canvas would actually be upside down because of the way the obscura lens would work. It would always do it kind of upside down. It might give some color information. It might not. It might have only given black and white. I don't know exactly. But again, the detail is that, I'm sure Daniel's going to talk about this. There's a parallel here between this and in today, in the year 2026, people being sensitive about tracing. You don't trace, right? That kind of thing.
That was my first point, was tracing.
Yeah. And the idea is that there's many artists who would never admit to doing it. Many artists who would never admit to tracing, many artists who would not admit to using the camera obscura, but Grimshaw apparently never hit it. In fact, he was, and let me get this right, him and his son were elected members of the Leeds Photographic Society in December of 1890. So he embraced photography for what it was, and then was using this as another medium, again, per Wikipedia, per someone's interpretation, to overcome his own shortcomings of perspective and other stuff. He was entirely self-taught, but he didn't hide from it. And I think because he didn't hide from it, and he just let society kind of shame him for a while, he didn't get to realize hundreds of years later, 100 years later, in the 1950s, it seems, people appreciating his work and the color and the use and so forth. I can say for myself, even knowing that fact about it, I'm still drawn to it. I love what I'm seeing, and I can see the choices he's making, as we were talking about, the colors. I don't care. He still put a layer of himself and his own intentionality into it that I'm like, it's still a painting as far as I'm concerned.
And it might make me like it even more. Not only because he was so brash and just kind of open about it and just saying, yeah, that's what I did to get this end result. Yep. Look at that. Awesome. The problem solving and ways to get around your own shortcomings is something to be commended. That is wonderful. That's beautiful. If you have trouble with perspective, and that helped him to create those gorgeous paintings, that's awesome, because he worked his way around a problem that he was having to create something beautiful. And we might not have that beautiful thing if he hadn't worked around that problem. We might still have something beautiful. It might just be something different. You don't know, but to land at that specific thing, those paintings that we viewed in the exact form that they come out in, it required that he used the methods that he did. I do not think there is any shame in tracing, and if you think there is, you can fight nearly the entire comic book industry with your fists. Because, boy howdy, let me tell you, the comic book industry is plastered with people, with artists who use tracing on a daily basis. It is nothing bad. It is nothing bad at all.
Yeah, let me. You're bringing that up, so you're bringing up a point that I want to talk about, and I want to get a visual for it for our viewers right here. Let me see if I can get it. One moment for us. But you talk about the comic book industry, and like one of the most famous comic book artists who sadly passed away in 2022, but was an absolute legend in the 70s, 80s, and onwards, was a man by the name of Neil Adams, specifically for his work with DC Comics and his work with Denny O'Neil, who is a famous writer for Batman, who actually, Denny O'Neil is famous for kind of cementing the idea that Batman doesn't use a gun. Denny O'Neil's like, no, for Batman to work, he can't use a gun, he can't kill people, when prior iterations believed he probably should. And Neil... I'm going to try to get some pictures of some Neil Adams work in just a moment if I can, but his work is just incredible. I mean, he's drawn some of the most iconic pieces of art you've ever seen. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. And I'm sure Sam, maybe Daniel has something really interesting to say, but I want to interrupt this time right now to let you know that if you want more of our cool podcast, which, by the way, we talk about a lot of cool stuff that's a little under the radar, you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/0.media. That's right. If you join our Patreon for $3.99 or your regional equivalent, you get access to longer, extended versions of our podcast. You also get them a little bit sooner. That's right. This podcast airs on Wednesdays, and Patreon members get it on Mondays. Plus, in addition, you get to be part of our cool community, share your thoughts, feelings, rationale for things, as well as share with us your questions about things, and we'll be happy to showcase them on the podcast. You get exclusivity right there and then. Plus, you get a sneak peek into some of our super secret projects we're working on. That's right, we're doing more than just a podcast, but you'll have to wait and see. Unless you're a Patreon member, then you get to see above everyone else. Once again, it's patreon.com/0.media. We'll drop a link in the description for you. We'd love to have you as a member. Otherwise, everything we offer is free. We wish you the best. Cheers. Here, I'll show this instead. So share this tab. I mean, you see this image of Batman lunging for the sky. You see this image right here of Batman clutching his hand after being hurt. He's done this famous piece that you see all over the place where Batman is lunging towards something. That's all Neil Adams. And Neil Adams is quoted in saying, guys, I trace. I trace. He talks about how he's in an office and they literally collect thousands upon thousands of magazines, specifically of bodybuilder magazines. And they go, okay, I'm just going to trace a bodybuilder in that position and I'll change the face a little bit and I'll do this. It's all traced. Every single piece he's ever done has some element of tracing to it, he has said. And he embraces it as a tool. And I remember hearing him say that, and it was so liberating because I was like, oh, I thought that all this has to come from the brain. You're not allowed to use any tools. And hearing him go, no, use every single goddamn tool that you have. Just use it.
Otherwise, it's not pure. It's not real, man. Like, it's all on you. If you need to use these tools to create something that you want to create, then do so. And to say that in the age of AI might sound a little bit sketchy, but, you know, maybe we'll get into that sometime because I can prove that still holds up.
Yes.
But yeah, tracing is not anything negative. It's not anything to be ashamed of. It's the same as using pose references. You know, you can get these like packs that people buy where they've got like the box heads and stuff, like different angles and stuff like that you can put underneath your artwork to try and get a good feel for the anatomy and everything like that. It's okay if someone wants to take that and use it as a learning tool, and then once they feel comfortable, don't use it anymore. Their art is valid. If someone wants to continue using that for the rest of their life as the basis for their artwork is valid.
Absolutely. I remember when I was
tell me otherwise.
When I was learning how to draw, Daniel, I literally thought that I was not a good artist for as long as I couldn't draw a straight line. And because I couldn't draw a straight line, I'm a bad artist. And it was Neil Adams and other people like, no, fuck that. I can't draw a straight line. Like, who fucking cares? Like, use a ruler.
Funnily enough, art is subjective. So who is anyone to say it's bad or good?
Yeah.
Really? You know, these pressures that we put on ourselves and other people well, that's not real art. Well, that's bad art. That's not good enough to be art. It's all art, and it's all valid, and it all serves a purpose, and it has value. It's, something that I've struggled with a lot. And you're right, a lot of the artists that I follow closely say very much the same thing. They're just like, I don't know perspective for shit. I don't know it. And I don't think it's a big deal. Because I look at some of their artwork and I'm like, that is phenomenal. And they're probably sitting there while they're creating it just like, oh my God, I'm a fraud. Oh, I can't do it. Oh no. I'm not a real artist. I'll never be like the greats. Or like, I'll never create anything worthwhile. And I've got to take all these shortcuts to get to where I am.
Oh my gosh, someone's going to call me out on this one wrong muscle anatomy thing or something. Yeah.
God, it's... no, it's still valid. And you know what? Oftentimes, in fact, those shortcomings are merely things that later on down the line coalesce and evolve to become your individual style. They become recognizable as your style. Say if someone wants to, they can't draw the flowing lines of an arm. So they have, if you look at old, like 90s gorillas artwork from Jamie Hewlett, a lot of the limbs are like, it's like a straight line with like a point at the elbow. And it's like, it's pretty much just like two rectangles stuck together for an arm. I'm grossly oversimplifying that. There's a lot of intention in his work. He's phenomenal. Massively respect that artist. But if I put a pen to paper and I drew that as an arm, I'd be like, what the hell am I doing? I can't show this to anyone. Jamie Hewlett was just like, I'm going to put it out as the artwork for one of the biggest bands in the world. What are you going to do? Like, and it's so iconic.
Yeah.
I look at those 90s Gorillaz drawings now and I'm just like, oh, it's so recognizable as Jamie Hewlett. It's so perfect. It's like, look at Mike Mignola's faces on his characters. If you look at his mouths, it's just like an oval sometimes with a few lines for teeth. And like, if someone drew that on the street and handed it to you, you'd just be like, the fuck is this?
Right.
Meanwhile, Mike Mignola's over there publishing like Hellboy and all the most amazing comics you've ever seen. But it's recognizable as his style. But I bet you when he first started drawing like that, it felt like a shortcoming.
Yeah.
He got a lot of shit from other people and he got a lot of shit from himself. Because it felt like a flaw. It felt like a shortcoming. This conversation's very healing for me, Sam. I think I'm hearing myself say these words and I'm like, damn, you right, me. Like it's like what feels like a flaw and what feels like a shortcoming. It could be the thing that you are most recognized for and not in a negative way. It could become something beautiful that you are known for and people respect you for. And people then try to emulate. Can you imagine your mistake or your shortcoming being so revered and so good that people try to copy it? The hell?
Greatest badge of honor.
That's so good.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I think, before I ramble on anymore, because I'm not usually the one to talk on this podcast, but I appreciate you giving me the space just to kind of flush that out of my system. Because otherwise I'm going to stand here and I'm just going to throw artist name after artist name and just be like, look at this guy, look at this person, look what they did. Yeah. So I will hand it back to you, my friend.
Oh, you're so nice. No, I mean, I love that you're talking about this stuff. I love that you're inspired. You're saying all the things I want you to say because I want to point our attention to, so for those that listen and watch and don't know a little bit about what I do, I'm a public speaker. I'm a workshop teacher. I'm an executive coach. I delve in the science and the art of things. So like I have the social sciences, I have the data, but I have to do this magic trick of like, how do I get you, Daniel, the person who's a pessimist with your arms crossed, open to the idea that what we have to say is right and it might be a good thing for you to have, right? And every single workshop's different. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this in a lot of different facets. But I've come to the conclusion that I wish I had learned a long time ago. which is you kind of have to focus on you being the most interesting person in the room. And if you are interesting, meaning you care about yourself and you focus on who you are as a person, people lean in. And I bring this up because I literally just saw this the other day. Steve Martin, the famous comedian, just dropped a masterclass. Some of the clips are on YouTube. I won't play the clip here. But one of his highlight clips, which we'll drop in our description if you want to watch, is called Steve Martin Explains Why You Should Never Trust Your Own Read of the Audience. And he talks first about how he would do like a comedic bit or a comedic stand-up, and if he got a lot of laughs, he's like, oh, yeah, great, I killed it that day. But then he'd survey people later, and they go, yeah, it was fine. But then he'd do another stand-up routine, and he would be very quiet. He wouldn't get that many laughs. And, oh, I bombed. I just totally bombed. Review comes out later. Most incredible, amazing thing he'd ever done. And he couldn't reconcile the fact that his feeling of what people thought about him never matched what the actual reaction was. And he had to learn that two things. One, some people, they don't react right away. It was incredible and amazing, and I loved it, but I'm not going to laugh out loud about it. I got to think about it. And the second thing is, he's never going to be held to the standard of like what his storytelling is, what his jokes are, what his structure is. He's going to be held to the standard of his worst mistakes. And when you are making your worst mistakes, you're flubbing, you're bombing, you're making your whatever, that's when people see the real you and whether or not you're interesting or not. And if you're interesting, that's what they actually sign up for. So like when Steve Martin has done a gig and it doesn't work out the way he thinks it was, what he never understands, and you can't understand this, people are paying attention to everything you're doing, and they're focusing on who you are as a person. And that's what gets them involved with what you have to say and what you have to do and what you have to perform. And so when I bring that up, it's about being interesting. I love that Grimshaw not only did the camera obscura, which a lot of artists did, but wasn't shy about it, apparently. Apparently, he could be seen on the city streets, literally painting with the light, and people go, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just making a painting. He did not hide the fact that he was doing that. I love the fact that he used that as a benchmark, and we saw the colors and the way in which he saw things really come through, and he made artistic choices there. And I'm sad that he does not get the love that maybe he probably deserved at the time, but I'm happy that I get to appreciate it now. And I'm happy that Grimshaw got to do what he wanted to do. We talk a lot on this channel about being authentic and being your real self, and there's a lot of reasons why you should do it. People respond well to it. People like when they see authenticity. We kind of get a whiff when something isn't quite right. But honestly, that's what makes you special. That's what makes me special. That's what makes Daniel special, is the weird, authentic stuff. I got feedback recently from a mentor of mine who gave me some coaching on my facilitation in my public speaking style. She gave me some great notes. Some of the notes, though, were like, oh, if you want me to fix that, I have to change who I am as a person. And I can't do that because I got to be me. And in order for me to be the best version of me, I have to let that happen. Like, I just have to let that happen. So, for instance, the example she gave was in one of my workshops I asked a thought-provoking question. I said, hey, and what do you guys think about that? And I just waited. And I waited. And I waited. And I waited. And no one was saying anything. And after a while, I said, well, just so you know, guys, I'm the professional in the room. I can do this all day. And they all laughed a little bit, but then I waited some more, and I waited some more, and I waited some more. And she said, Sam, it got a little awkward after a while. You should probably do something to keep the pace up. And I said, no, because I wanted them to know I'm okay with silence, and it's up to them to fill it. And finally, someone did. And I think that's one of my superpowers. I'm okay with that awkward silence. And so, lovely feedback, lovely notes. I thank you so much, Louise. She's a fantastic mentor. But I took that note and I went, if I change this about me, then I'm going to lose something about me too. And I have to decide I'm not going to do that right there and then. And it's all about that give and take of feedback. So I really love, Daniel, your perspective on this, because again, I thought you might have a thought about this. I fall into the trap too myself about thinking, okay, in order for me to be a real artist, I have to do XYZ thing without any other resources. Oh, a real photographer uses film, maybe, perhaps. A real photographer doesn't need to be in the Lightroom fixing things. A real photographer gets their cropping right exactly in frame. And that's just simply not the case. You got to use the tools that work for you and be as human as you possibly can. And what Daniel was saying, people pick up on all the shortcuts and all the things that you do, and that becomes your trademark, and that becomes your thing. And that's kind of beautiful, all in and of itself. Wouldn't you say?
I would say, and I did say.
Yeah, you did.
Mere moments ago.
Moments ago.
I did. Wow. Amazing. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. And like I said, I think, just a very it felt very nice. I feel like I needed that today. I feel like I needed to hear myself say that out loud. I think that's really helped me. Thanks, me, for helping me.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. You're a good dude.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically the main point I wanted to bring up, and just kind of highlight that beautiful artist, their method of doing it. And, you know, give everyone that's listening and watching permission to be the best you can possibly be. Every time I've been disappointed in myself, it's been because I let myself try to be someone that I wasn't. And every time that I've been really proud of myself has been when I said, no, I'm going to do it my way. Not in a like a rebellious, like angry, like screw you way, but more like
not in a Fred Durst or the highway kind of way. Like,
but it's more like there's a way this can be done that's going to be my way. It'll be off. It'll be a little raw, but you know what? It'll have been mine, and that's what people are going to remember from me.
Very well said, Sam. As always. As usual.
It's almost like we have a podcast or something.
It's almost as if you are a very good talkie man who does it professionally.
Maybe that's what
Maybe that's what it is.
I am the funniest, though, in that regard, because I often, when I do it digitally, I have a producer on hand who helps me do some things. Mm-hmm. And when we walk through the deck together, and I'm like, okay, and then this part, oh gosh, a lot of talk. God, I talk too much. And I always say that every time. And he goes, dude, that's what you're being paid for. I'm like, I know, but I kind of hate it.
It's like good old Grimmy, good old Jag standing there and just be like, God, I paint too much. It's what you do, man.
That is what I do. That's what people pay me for.
Exactly.
People say so. My mentor was like, you know, you have such a musicality to your voice. People lean in. I'm like, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've worked on that. That didn't used to be the case. I used to believe that I must deliver like I'm a captain of a sea ship and you need my attention. And let me make sure my voice is in the middle of the mic and I have this deep. I used to do that. I'm like, nah, man. Nah, be you. Be you.
Yeah. Be you. Be you if you are the captain of a sea ship. Like that's,
if you're captain of a sea ship.
Be you at the same time.
If you're strong man, I want to hear about that, right?
Hell yeah. Oh, strong man. It always somehow comes back to strong man.
It does.
I love, for those of you who aren't aware, maybe newer listeners and viewers, head on back and find the lore of strong man. I can't remember what episode he was in. Was it what 2? Episode 2?
2 or 3, one of those.
Episode 2 or 3, you'll find the lore of strongman, and boy, is it worth going back for. I love that guy.
We got to reach out and be like, hey, can we bring you on the show? Can we talk to you? That'd be fun.
I'd love to have strongman on the show. That would be so good.
Great.
But yes. There we go. That'll do.
All right. All right, folks. Well, that's been our episode. I've really loved our conversations. Daniel, I appreciate it, but like all things, they come to an end. That's been the Zero Dot Podcast. I'm Sam. This is Daniel.
Hello. Or goodbye.
John is here in spirit, but he'll be back next time. You can check us out at thezero.podcast.com, where all of our episodes are broadcast. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Amazon Music, YouTube. We're basically everywhere. Wherever you can find podcasts, that's where we are. We also recommend going to our website, thezero.podcast.com, to submit your questions. We'd love to talk about your questions. We'd talk about your questions about life, about professional challenges, everything you want to talk about. We want to talk about them for you. You can also submit your questions at questions@thezero.podcast.com, and we read every single one. And if you give us your information and you give us your question, we'll be happy to talk about it here. But until next time, make it a great week. Stay on Team Human. We'll see you.